Hi everyone. So if we look around India, there is something deeply disturbing that is happening. For example, Bangladesh is going through a series of crises. A lot of migrants can come from Bangladesh. Similarly, Nepal, issues going on. Sri Lanka, issues going on. Pakistan, issues going on. On top of that, there is somewhat of a tacit war that is happening between India and China. Point I'm trying to make from an investment lens is that it is unlikely that the Indian government is going to spend less money on defense. So on this video, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to help you understand this defense space more. As an investor, I also made a mistake by not building position in the defense stocks, and for the last couple of years, they have been multi-bagger, so to say. Now, for me, the fundamentals were not justified. They are still not justified now. But what I've started to realize as an investor, and I'm openly acknowledging with all of you, is that see, stock markets right now is not necessarily driven by fundamentals, right? We have to acknowledge the fact that sentiments have also started playing crazy role in it. Now, this is an investment thesis that I'm changing, so to say, because it's how it is, right? I mean, I can have one opinion, but if the market is indicating something else, then I need to respect that, acknowledge the mistake, and accordingly restructure my investing style. Now, I'm not saying that going forward, I'm going to put crazy money on defense, but I'm starting my analysis on this sector. So I thought that I will share my initial research with you. And in case you feel that going forward, more spending will happen on defense, this is a critical sector. Are there some undervalued stocks, or is there a way we can analyze all this? So I will share my thesis with you. I will also speak about some key stocks. I'll also pick one key small cap stock because small caps are very, very difficult to analyze in this space. So I will tell you what are the areas that I'm looking at. This is not a recommendation that you go and buy these type of stocks. Nothing of that sort. I'm just simply teaching you how to use this framework in case you are trying to build defense positions. Very important video. Watch it till the very end. You will learn how to analyze different industries. That is the goal of my YouTube channel, to make you a better fundamental investor. So without wasting any time, so let me present a very quick thesis as to why I feel that defense might still be a good sector irrespective of whatever is happening around us. So here is the global comparison of military spending, right? You can see this in absolute numbers, right? For example, US spends crazy amount of money, right? They are spending $801 billion. Now, this does not make much sense. You have to look at it in percentage of its GDP. So roughly 3.5. If we go to India, we are spending 2.7% of our GDP on defense. Okay. Now, this number, can it go up? Yes. In fact, looking the situation around us, this number is likely to go up subsequently in the future. It's fairly commonsensical to make that leap of faith or make that assumption, right? Why? Because South Korea. Now, South Korea also has issues with its neighbors, right? And they are spending 2.8. So hum uske aaspaas hi hain. We have so many neighbors and so many issues with so many neighbors. So of course, this is going to be a higher spend as a percentage of GDP, right? Going forward. So this is point one that you need to understand. Point two, what you will see is a trend line. For example, if you take a look at this particular chart, you will see that every year the defense spending is going up, up and up, right? So this has been a massive growth except for the year 2023 and 2024, right, where the defense spending has somewhat stagnated. Why has it stagnated? Because the government is cutting its expenses at this juncture. Debt बहुत ज़्यादा हो गई है. Lot of other macro issues, employment and वगैरह वगैरह बातें, coalition की सरकार, funds need to be given to Bihar and Andhra and all that stuff. So of course, a lot of cut has happened on a range of public sector schemes, but for defense, the budgets have somewhat been maintained, right? Or very slight cut, so to say. So this is not a cause of worry. Another key trend that I would like to highlight is that if you take a look at these numbers, what you will notice is, and this is the good work that the government is doing. For example, they are bringing down the pension contributions more, right? So they are cutting down expenses here, right? And probably they will actually allocate it to core defense spending. Now, given your political inclination, ki, you know what, okay, social security milni chahiye, pension milni chahiye and all that stuff, that's a separate argument altogether. Many would speak for it, many would speak against it. Now, I am speaking purely from investing viewpoint that productive spending on defense needs to happen. Now, when we are doing like retirement planning for everyone and giving them pensions, it puts a lot of stress on exchequer. It ultimately reflects in your higher taxes. So according to me, this is a good step, right? And I'm genuinely letting you know. Now, there are two types of defense spending that we do. One is export oriented, right? And one is import oriented or for our local use, right? Now, India is not a very prominent exporter of defense products, right? Why? Because इसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. For example, defense में जैसे if we are trying to export something to Russia or US and all that, there are like security concerns कि भाई आपका equipment we have purchased, यार what about like आपने कुछ घपलेबाजी कर दी and all that stuff. So yeah, that can breach our country's security. So India does not export much and our defense equipments are not high quality to begin with. So we rather import. Now, does it have security concerns? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not educated enough to speak about that space. But one key point that is happening here is that a lot of local companies have started to come. For example, in the last 2-3 years, something like Paras Defense has IPO'd, right? And they are adding to our defense and space exploration capabilities. Similarly, a lot of local players have also come and they are adding to our defense ecosystem. Now, this internal size is where the investment opportunities lies. Now, India imports a lot of defense goods from countries like Russia. Now, over the next few decades, it is commonsensical to reduce this dependence, and this dependence will get substituted by local players. So if we can identify companies that are indigenous, especially in defense domain, that is required. That is where nationalism actually is needed. Nationalism is not necessarily needed on like, let's say, tech products per se, but for defense product, it is absolutely critical. Data centers, again, is one such example where we need to have homegrown companies. And therefore, I feel that if you're a long-term investor, then maybe, if you are keeping like 5-10 year viewpoint, then this is a trend that is only going to accelerate. It is accelerating not only in India, but across the globe. Then a natural question comes that, okay, fine, investment thesis makes sense. Now, if I look at companies like Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, right? So for example, if I look at the price, it went from 500 all the way till 5,500, right? In a matter of how many years? In the matter of 4 years. So बहुत तगड़ी growth है. And also you have to see this in context of the market cap. The market cap of the company is big. This is a large cap company. Stock price going 5x for a lakh crore company, it is absolute crazy, right? So this, according to me, is a very hard stock to purchase right now, right? Similarly, if you take a look at something like Paras Defense, right? Now again, if you go check, then how much has the stock? 485 se ho gaya bhai, 1500. Now again 4x, 5x, but if you look at the numbers, the fundamental improvement has hardly come. There is hardly any fundamental improvement in terms of revenues growth, profit growth. This is pure sentiment driven stock, so to say. On the flip side, if you look at some stocks, for example, Apollo Microsystems, this is a small cap company. इसमें price कितनी बढ़ी है देखो, small cap की तो price बढ़ भी सकती है, that's not the issue. So 21 से लेके it, like other stocks, became 4-5 times. Now it is cooling off, and more importantly, it is consolidating. So if these type of stocks, if you pick, you do the analysis, if it fits your investment criteria, and if they fall, if you're getting it at reasonable price, then in the next cycle, it might make sense to take some positions on this. So how do we go about analyzing these type of companies, and what are some of the key points that we must remember? Now, there are 5 key points that I will tell you, and these are fundamental to any defense stock. The first key point is understand the nature of the business. Now, what do I mean by nature of the business? For example, if you go on Hindustan Aeronautic Limited, what you will realize is that this is manufacturing what? This is manufacturer of aircraft and helicopters and repair and maintenance contract around it. अब ज़्यादा helicopter aircraft बेचेंगे तो यार बढ़िया चलेगा. Now it's not as if that India is going to increase its supply of aircrafts, helicopters by 50% each year. This is like very difficult thing to do, right? And this is a single themed company कि भाई एक ही तरीके का और almost similar type of products they are going to sell. Yes, aircraft can be of different variants, repair contracts becoming a recurring revenue, but to cut the long story short, it's not as if that it is expanding into a series of products lines. Now here, if you go, another key point that you need to check is that the fixed capacity expansion for the company has hardly grown. Now stock बढ़ क्यों गया? There is no head or leg to it, right? One could argue that it was undervalued, therefore it went up, all that stuff, but fundamentally you cannot figure out much on this, right? This is the key problem. One key reason why it has gone up is that the promoter tab पे आप जाओगे तो you'll see President of India, right? Now President of India is not going to sit on Zerodha and up stocks and grow all day and trade stocks. उनके पास बढ़िया काम है करने के लिए. So they are not going to do all this. So the free float of the company is very small. So because of the free float, the price can go whatever, right? Now, this is not a problem if you go to stocks like Apollo. Again, this is not a buying recommendation. I'm just simply teaching you how to analyze stuff, right? So for example, investor, इसमें private investors हैं, okay? Free float of the company is high, right? So this is one. What about fixed asset expansion? Bhai, yes, the company is doing fixed asset expansion. There is no problem there. Also, on top of that, this is a small cap company. Now, small cap, for example, this 3,200 crore से 10,000 होना is a legitimate goal, right? It can happen. But if a company is already at 3.3 lakh, right, crore market cap. Can it go to like 10 lakh crore market cap easily? No, that's really tough. It will have to sell almost 3 times more aircraft. Now, how much time will it take for India to absorb that type of demand? Okay, so also study the nature of the company here. So for example, Apollo Microsystem, if you go and check, I've prepared this brief note. What you will notice is that this is doing an aggregate play. They specialize in designing and manufacturing high performance solutions for a series of different companies and clients. They are not manufacturing one type of product. This is like, consider it as OEM type of a company for defense products, right? So that is what it is doing. So it is much more diversified in the type of product it has. Now, what type of product does it have? So for example, this chart here will help you understand that it dabbles into avionics, aerospace, naval systems, satellite, homeland security, and you can just pause the video for a second and read through all these points. Now, the second key point that you need to understand is that is this really an indigenous player, and where is it that it is selling its product? For example, HAL. So good company sells a lot of stuff in India, no problem there because this is indigenous demand. Very good. But there are companies that are dependent on external propositions, right? And for example, I will show you in Paras Defense. So for example, almost 16% of its business comes from abroad. Please understand this 15% is not a small number. Okay. Why? Because बहुत सारी कंपनियां हैं that are 100% only domestically focused. International वैसे भी demand बहुत कम होती है for Indian defense products. Problem with Paras Defense is that 30% इनका private sector से ही आता है. This dependence is high because the primary spend comes from government itself. जैसे Army, Navy, Air Force. Now, if some company is winning contracts with these, so those are big ticket contracts and multi-year order books. So let's do the same analysis for Apollo Micro. Now, this is something that you will find on the balance sheet. You will quickly see that 100% of the revenue comes from India. Outside India, इनका revenue nil है. Okay. Next key point that you need to understand, and again this will you will see from the balance sheet, is trade receivables. And वो private player वाला भी आपको समझ में आएगा. See, trade receivables का मतलब होता है कि मान के चलो they have sold, let's say 1000 crore of goods, right? Now, when is this money received by the company? So they have sold 1000 crore of goods to, let's say, Air Force, right? Now Air Force is liable to pay this company 1000 crore. Do you think that Air Force will default? The chances are very, very less. So this is called as trade receivable. Now, by default, almost all the companies in this space have a very high trade receivable percentage. From here, you will see that almost 50% trade receivables are here, right? If you compare it to the revenues. Now, this is a very high number. If you're dabbling in the private sector space and, you know, some company goes belly up, bankrupt ho jati hai, so this entire money gets, you know, done away with. So it's a problem, right? Because these are multi-year contracts, very long gestation period. Jaise it will take years to manufacture, transport, whatnot. So this is a fairly long-term risk that the company is taking by filling up its order book. So it's very important कि if you are picking any company now, check its order book, what type of clients it's dealing, will those clients default, or what are the probability of those clients defaulting. All these are very, very important numbers. Don't just simply go by revenues. On top of this, if a company is exporting outside India, then they have to deal with something called as foreign currency or foreign exchange risk. मान के चलो that if there is company X and it is exporting to Russia, right? Russia will say that, okay, we will pay you in our local currency. We will not pay you in INR, right? Now, okay, fine. Now this contract might take 3 years or 4 years to execute. That trade receivable thing will be there, right? Every year we'll pay you this much money in rubles. Now, what happens is that every year if Russian currency depreciates compared to INR, then it becomes a problem for the company that has exported to Russia. So this is called as foreign currency risk. So again, my point would be to go with companies that are actually producing locally and giving their supply to stable customers. So for this, you need to go and check the order book. So order book आपको usually मिलती है when you go on annual report, and you will see snippets like this. So again, I have pulled it out for Apollo Micro, and what you will see is that in July of 2024, the company has been shortlisted and awarded a prestigious Make 2 project by Indian Army. यार अब ये छोटा मोटा तो project होगा नहीं. If it is from the Indian Army, this will be a fairly big project. Now the revenue recognition for this might happen in decades. Similarly, you should go and try to check other clients for the company. For example, यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो, it's IOCL, right? So this is a public sector unit, right? So this again is a reliable client, so to say. The chances of default is very low. Now, final point, you must always check the competitor of the company. For example, in Apollo Micro, if you go and do a peer analysis, what you will see is that Bharat Electronics is one company which has been extensively in news, and this is its competitor. But look at the size of Bharat Electronics. This is again 2.14 lakh crore company. Okay, so this is a fairly big company. Now, in case you feel that the size of the industry is expanding, कि इतनी थी और यार अब इतनी होने वाली है. Now, do you think that only one player will be able to meet all this demand? The short answer is no. This will give room for competition. But on the flip side, if the size of the industry is shrinking, ki itni thi, right, and now it has become this, then dominant players like Bharat Electronics are going to do better. So accordingly, you need to place your bets. You need to study all these key points. Now, of course, on top of this, you have to study different ratios, do different prognosis, whatnot. But I hope that this short video helped you pick or build a quick understanding of how to do fundamental analysis. In case you guys are interested, I am running a live course on stock markets. If you want to learn everything from scratch about different industries, how to analyze PE ratios, how to build a mutual fund portfolio, do international investing. So I teach this everything from scratch on my course. So in case you are interested, do sign up. I'll put the link in description and comment box. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.